go. So before beginning this presentation, I'd like to share some truths about myself and about this place that many of us call home. I myself am not Indigenous, rather I'm from a settler colonial ancestry. And although my heritage extends to England, I, like many other settler people, have benefited greatly from living on Turtle Island. And as a visitor on this island, I have an important responsibility to acknowledge the grounds on which we are privileged to gather in the pursuit of higher education. Our university, both Peterborough and the TRENT Durham GTA campus, is located in the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. I believe that it's not only important to recognize the Mississauga for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations, but to honor these teachings through our interactions today and every day hereafter. May we dedicate ourselves to moving forward in the spirit of partnership, collaboration, and reconciliation as we learn together and contemplate the possibilities that lay ahead. So one thing I want to do before I pass it right over to James, the Dean of Graduate Studies, I want to introduce the people that are here representing our office, the School of Graduate Studies, that helps you. You've maybe already been in contact with many of them in the application process and will be when it comes to finance or more just getting started registration or just along your path as a journey as a graduate student. So I'm just going to kind of go along my screen and see who I see here. Adam Murphy. He is a graduate administrative support person along with myself. I didn't introduce myself. I am Lori Collette. I am also a graduate administrative support person. Next on my screen is Stephanie Belfry, and she's the manager of the School of Graduate Studies. Jessie Arawanto. She is the admissions assessor with our team. Haley McCormick also works more in the area of finance as a graduate administrative support person. And I hope I got everyone. Sharon Maloney is the admissions officer.
Good morning.
And now I'm just going to throw it over to James Connolly. He is the Dean of Graduate Studies, and he has a short overview presentation for you.
Thank you, Lori. Welcome, everybody. My name is James Connolly, and I'm the Acting Dean of Graduate Studies. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the spring graduate term at Trent University. I have a very short presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that I will share my screens so that you can see that. Welcome to those of you who are joining us in person, and also those of you who are joining us through some of our online offerings. Those of you that are here in person and are either just arriving in Canada or coming up to Peterborough for the first time, this is the start of our spring, of course. This picture is taken in the fall when the leaves are turning, but you get to experience the first part of this, which is when the green returns to the campus, and it's sort of it returns to a sort of it's summer river and trees and lake setting, which is a really beautiful time to be here. We have a large number of graduate students that are with us at the moment. We have over 800 active students and 400 starting this academic year alone. So these students may be in any one of 28 degrees or 38 streams, or taking some of our graduate diploma offerings. And we successfully graduate about 200 students each year from these programs. So you're joining a large and active cohort of students across many programs, and it's you're likely to encounter, especially those of you who are here on campus, encounter students from across a range of different programs at the university. Some of these, and you'll be in one of these yourself, but some of these students may be in doctoral programs. We also offer thesis-based master's programs, which are typically 2 years in length, course-based master's programs, which are between 12 months and 16 months in length, as well as graduate diplomas, which are around 8 months in length. So these are sort of 4 basics of classes of degree program. And you'll find yourself in, of course, one of these streams. But within each of these, there are several different options and programs, depending on the department and host unit that offers it. Just to introduce you, Laurie's already done a good job of introducing you to the School of Graduate Studies and the office that are here to provide support to you during your time at TRENT. I'm the acting Dean of Graduate Studies and will be for another few more months before the incumbent dean returns. But for the first little part of your time here, I'll be the person who's sort of looking after your overall program while here. Stephanie, been introduced to you. She's the manager of the School of Graduate Studies. There's Aaron and Sharon, Jesse, Jane, and Laurie, who of course is running the session, as well as Jessica, Haley, and Adam. Many of these people are here on the host and are here on the presentation. Will be here to offer you help if you enter sort of questions into the chat, for instance. But you'll get a chance to meet some of these people during your time at TRENT as well. Just to run through a few highlights of the campuses that we have for our students, whether you're undergraduate or graduate. So many of us are located on the Simons campus, which is the largest of the 3 campuses of TRENT. This is just north of, it's within the city of Peterborough, but just north of the city of Peterborough, right on the Otonabee River that runs from the Kawartha Lakes down into Rice Lake and then into Lake Ontario. This is it's a beautiful setting on the river with campus buildings on either side. One of the more striking buildings that serves as a, for those of you who don't know the campus particularly well, is the library, which is on the west side of the campus. So if you can orientate yourself and find the library, it assists in sort of working out where some of the other buildings are, but it's a very visible and distinctive structure. Just to the south of that is the Student Center. And this is also, as you can see, a distinctive building that's on the banks of the river. So provided you can sort of find these 2 buildings, for those of you that are up on this campus, you'll be able to find all the other buildings on the fairly large campus that we have in the Peterborough area. So I've marked the Battle Library and the Student Center there. Graduate Studies, which is where the office is located, is in the red circle just to the south of that. So it's a short walk along the river to the annex of Blackburn Hall, where you'll find most of the officers and support staff for Graduate Studies. Some of you may be your host programs or host departments may be at Trail College, which is a downtown campus that is located in the heart of downtown Peterborough. This is a cluster of some older buildings and some newer buildings. It's a very pleasant and collegial place to work that is has easier access to walk to the downtown area. So it's also the graduate college. It hosts a number of programs and events that are specific to graduate students. And the head of that college, Dr. Michael Lehman, will be in contact with you through email and other social media to promote some of the events that Trail College offers throughout the school year. We also have a college in the GTA in Oshawa in the Durham region. This is a rapidly growing college and hosts some of our popular graduate programs as well. And so some of you may be spending more time there than others. It's a vibrant and exciting place to be on the edge of the Toronto area, and is also an increasingly important part of the sort of the social fabric of Trent University as well. So those are the three sort of campus areas of the university. The one to the north of Peterborough on the river, Trail in the downtown area, and then the Durham GTA campus as well. Aaron, I think we'll go through in a bit more detail some of the registration processes that you'll need to go through. But just so you're aware, each of your programs does have a graduate director and an administrative assistant. And these typically are your first points of contacts if you have questions about your program. So you can contact, these names are easily obtainable through the website for that particular program. You can contact your administrative assistant or the graduate program director if you have questions about course prerequisites, courses that you need to register in, program requirements, etc. They're the people that will be able to help you immediately with those program specific questions. For questions that they're unable to answer, or you have questions that are beyond the program level, by all means, you can contact members of the School of Graduate Studies who will be able to direct you or answer that question for you. Just so you're aware, students in our graduate programs are registered for 12 months a year for 3 terms. So we have 3 graduate terms: the graduate fall term, the winter term, and the spring and summer term, which is the one that you are entering in, which is our May to August term. If you wish to change your registration status, so this is to apply for a leave of absence, to change your program stream, if you want to convert into a different program, if you need to change from full-time to part-time or change from part-time to full-time, all of these require an application, and these are available on either on the website or through contacting your program to get the appropriate form. Your first place to look, though, would be on the School of Graduate Studies forms page, where you can see that there are a list of applicable forms there for some of those processes that I've referred to, such as changing program status or from full-time to part-time. So there are processes for doing this. You're welcome to explore some of the graduate studies websites for identifying these sorts of forms and the processes required to change registration status. I'll also highlight the important role that the TRENT Graduate Students Association plays in ensuring that you are integrated into the TRENT graduate community. You will see emails periodically, as well as through social media, as well as there's a website for the TRENT Graduate Students Association. This is your sort of your fellow students who have organized who've organized themselves in such a way to promote graduate studies at TRENT and to ensure that graduate students are represented to the policymakers of the university and the decision makers of the university, as well as providing events support for you while you are at TRENT. So by all means, either contact them or follow some of or attend some of the events that they're promoting during your time at TRENT, because they're an important and helpful organization. And then some of you, of course, may have questions about coronavirus and ongoing restrictions with COVID-19. The best place to look for information on this is on our coronavirus webpage. Although we are in the process of relaxing some of the restrictions with regards to, in keeping with public health guidelines, relaxing some of the restrictions that have been in place over the last 2 years. There, of course, is potential for things to change fairly rapidly. So if there is any change in public health guidelines, then it will be posted onto the coronavirus page where you'll get the latest information. So if there are also questions about traveling to Canada or traveling outside of the country, if you need to, as part of your graduate program, attend fieldwork, for instance, both your program directors as well as the coronavirus page will have the information that you need. Finally, I'd just like to once again welcome you. It's wonderful that you're joining us here. Those of you who are here in person, you'll enjoy the spring and summer months of our campus. For those of you joining us online, we certainly hope that you enjoy your experiences with your faculty advisors virtually. We're very pleased that you're here, and we're certainly here to help you get the most out of you.
Thank you so much, James. That was great. I did just want to mention to you that Jane Rennie, the finance officer, has been able to join us for today's session. So she's also here. So if we have any questions about finance, she can answer those. I'm just checking the chat feature. I haven't seen any questions come in. Did anyone want to unmute and have a question before we move over to the second presentation? I did post the link in there for the coronavirus updates as well. So we might be posting more links in there as it goes. That's in Erin's presentation coming up, just to make it easier. People want to click on them and grab them. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so I guess I'll just pass it on over to you, Erin. Erin is, as we've mentioned, the registration officer for the School of Graduate Studies, and she's going to walk you through kind of the registration process and a little bit of the more finer details for getting started as a graduate student at TRENT. Thanks, Erin. Go ahead.
Thanks, Lori. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Trent University and specifically to the School of Graduate Studies. We're very excited to have you here and to help onboard and get you oriented to start your graduate programs this spring. So I do have a short presentation. Again, much of my presentation is just some general housekeeping items, some reminders, some important dates and things as you sort of come into Trent University and you're trying to orient yourself as to what I need to get done to begin my studies. I'll just share my screen here. Is that okay, Lori?
Yeah, it's good.
That's better. Okay. So like I said, my agenda today, we were going to go through a few housekeeping items, activating Trent accounts, understanding your letter of offer as you start your program, some registration highlights, which includes getting your student card and some resources that will be helpful to you as a new graduate student. And then just some slight overview on the health and dental plan and your UHIP for our international students. Like Lori said, we'll have a time for questions at the end. So if you want to type your questions in as we go, and one of my colleagues can definitely help answer those, or we can save them till the end. Okay, so as you're getting oriented to Trent, one of the things we ask you to do is to get your My Trent access ready, activated, and up to date. This is how your My Trent email is activated and how your login to our Trent portal as a student will initiate. So this is important before you begin your studies to get this working. If you can't get it working, to reach out to one of our team members or to our IT team and make sure that you are comfortable with using My Trent and logging in regularly to check messages, bulletins, and just the status of your situation. So all Trent students are given Trent email accounts that are connected with Google education accounts. So as you log in and activate your My Trent account, as new students, your portal will open up and you will have a lot of the options available to you within My Trent. Your first time you log in, we do need you to sort of activate your account. You'll go to this button here on that I've highlighted, and it'll walk you through the steps to initiate your account. Once you've done that once successfully, every time you come back, all you'll need to do is log into your My Trent account. It'll already be active, and this is the spot, like I said, that you'll be checking news, events, notifications, and anything related to your time here as a student. Once you, now that you are registered students, you should notice that your My Trent portal has changed since you were an applicant. You will now have a lot more options up in your right-hand toolbar, a full selection of features here as a student. Sorry. The second thing that we're asking you to do before you start your studies is just review your letter of offer. So the letter of offer that you were sent to begin your program does contain a lot of the details, including any conditional offers you may have, deadline dates, funding package details if those are applicable, and any other important information before you begin your studies. If you have any questions, please reach out to our program or to our office, sorry. As James already highlighted, our registration for graduate studies does go 12 months a year. So typically our students are registered all throughout the calendar year. Some students do take leaves of absences or their programs are shorter than 12 months, but typically a student would be registered all 3 terms of the year, unless they had an extenuating circumstance. If there's any questions about this, again, please reach out. At this time, your registration is open. So for all May start students, you should be already registered or beginning to think about what you are going to register in for the upcoming spring term. You do have until May 10th to get all of your registration status up to date, to ask any questions or to sort of fine tune your course registration before the term begins. Within the My Trent environment, under the Academics tab, there's a choice of registering, and your course registration here is the icon that you'll be looking for to begin the course registration process. The first time you access the registration portal, the system will ask you to update any emergency contact information you have. Typically, you just do this once a year, so you would only see this once, probably the first time you log in. And again, if it does already have information here, if you were a student in the past, it will just verify that information. As a new student, we're asking you to just confirm and enter any emergency contact information that you may have. You'll also be asked to accept any financial and registration commitments as you proceed through the registration process. So there, as many of you know, there are financial responsibilities for courses that you are selecting and for courses that are not dropped by posted deadlines. So this is just reminding you before you begin the registration process that this comes with some responsibility and to ensure that you understand what you are registering for in the term. We do point out here that the graduate academic calendar and our fee deadlines page are great spots to check in terms of deadlines or to just confirm some of the dates associated with registration. And again, you can always check in with your graduate program administrator or anyone in our office if you do have questions about this. And the third thing, the first time you log in, is again, just verification that you understand university policies around academic integrity and access to instruction. So both of them have links to more in-depth coverage of both of these university policies, but as a graduate student specifically, both of these things are imperative that you do fully understand what they entail and how this may impact you as a graduate student. And then you finally get into the registration steps. This outline is just only for graduate students. The registration steps for a graduate student we refer to as a two-step process. So step one is you registering as a graduate student. This confirms to the university that you are active for that term and have signed up to be a student in the term that we are referring to. So for this term, it would be the 2022 GS, which is our graduate spring summer term. Step one was just letting us know that you're here full-time or part-time. Some of our graduate students don't take courses, especially in their upper years if they're working on independent research and writing. So step one is sort of our check and balance to make sure that you are here as a graduate student and are active. Step two, we refer to sort of as registering for any coursework that you may be taking this term. So outside of being here as a graduate student, there may be degree requirements that have you taken courses each and every term or throughout your terms as a graduate study student. And so step two would be going back into the registration steps and making sure that you've updated any of the courses you're taking for the term. So step one, when you're coming into the registration portal, letting us know that you're here for the term and you're registered as a graduate student. There really is only two fields that are important to fill out in this step. So it's the term. Well, like I said earlier, right now we're in the 2022 grad spring summer term is what you'll select in that field. And then under the subject field, you're going to pick that you're either a graduate studies full-time student or that you're a graduate studies part-time student. You'll hit the submit button. And what will present back to you is the choices. So I did select full-time student. So now it's asking me if I'm a master's student, an education student, a diploma student, or a PhD student. So in this example that I have here on the screenshot, I'll select that I'm a master's student. I'm registering as a full-time master's student for the spring term, and I would submit. The third screen will actually pull back my selected choice and ask me for an action item on that. In that case, I'll select I'm going to plan to register for this course. Again, submit. And then it's just confirming my registration results. And you can see under my status here that I have successfully registered for the spring term as a full-time master's student. So there's step one complete. And that's what we ask that you do as a graduate student each and every term. Step 2 would be if I was taking any courses this term. And for this example, I'm just pretending I'm a history student. So under, again, I would select the term 2022 grad spring, and under subject this time, I'm going to pick the subject where my graduate course lies. So for this example, I'm a history student, and so I'm going to select the subject of history. Again, it'll throw back all the choices I have for the given term in the history department. The courses I have the selection of choosing from for that term. I'll double click the courses I'm hoping to take and hit submit. Again, take the action item to register in both of the selections I've made. And then again, confirming that I have successfully registered for those 2 courses for the term chosen. So as you can see, sort of in the middle of this screen, I've registered as a full-time master's student, and it looks like I'm taking 2 history courses this term. Again, any questions, any help with that, our team is here to help. We can either do one-on-ones if you're having trouble with the system itself or some of the steps involved, or if you're not sure of which courses to select, of which courses you should be taking for your program, certainly reach out to our office, but better yet, even reach out to your academic administrator for your specific program, as they often have some really clear paths and sort of historical best practice for students in your program of what they should be selecting each term. Within the MyTRENT environment, under the academics tab, you can also see at any point in time your academic record, which is a copy of your transcript that the university has on record. So again, if you just wanted to see sort of your grades, your registration status, whether or not grades have been posted, whether you have credits obtained for the courses you've taken, etc. This is the best place to just get a real quick glance or a summary of what you have going on in academics, and to review the credits that you've already obtained when you're looking towards finishing up and making sure that you've hit all your degree requirements for your program. Also under the MyTRENT environment, just sort of being launched this spring and summer, we have a new self-service icon. Like I said below, the new releases are coming out. We're currently working on this as a project within the university, but for now, the self-service tab can be used if you do need to update contact information that you entered originally through the registration process. So if that needs updating or complete changing at any time during your graduate studies, you can find that in the self-service tab. There's also some information about you, including your home address, alternative email addresses, and phone numbers that the university has on file concerning your sort of information. And again, just checking in every once in a while that that's up to date and accurate, so that we have the best information available to contact you if need be. We do, just a reminder, send all university correspondence through your Trent U address. Many students set up email forwards off of this if you prefer to use a different email, but it is important that your Trent U email is checked regularly, as this is the only address typically that the university will communicate with you. Once you have your registration steps complete, the next step would be to get your Trent U card. So again, within the MyTRENT environment, there's an icon available. You can upload a picture of yourself, or if you're in person and walking around campus, you can stop by and have your picture taken. Cards will be available sort of the beginning of May on both campuses, both at the Simons campus and at the Durham GTA campus. This card is sort of access to buildings, labs, after-hour doors. Certain students have access to sort of special access to buildings and some of their research facilities, and between your supervisor and some of the administrative supports in your program, these can be set up to suit your needs. But this Trent U card is your access to a lot of that. It also is the card you'll need if you're going to use the gym, if you sort of need to get in and out of campus when you're using our library services. And then also if you choose to put any money towards onto your Trent card, they can be used towards some of our food and beverage services on and off campus, as well as some of the services like photocopying and printing at some of our information centers around campus. I think we've gone through this a couple times, but just reiterating with you guys that there are a number of employees and supports here at the university that are willing and wanting to help you succeed as a graduate student. This is by no means the entire list, but certainly a list that's relevant to you as a graduate student, and really important that you do reach out, introduce yourself, make sure that you're that you are involved and that you're staying in contact, that you're reading our contacts regularly and asking questions if you have any. Those seem to make the most successful students, are the ones that are fully aware and really on top of a lot of the things that are going on as a student. James mentioned earlier as well that our TRENT Graduate Student Association is active and very willing to be here to represent and promote, advocate for all of our graduate students. They're very involved. They have lots of great opportunities. You will hear from them again through your Trent U email address, and make sure that you take advantage of a lot of the opportunities, especially the social that they have. They will reach out regularly and try to get you involved. If you're interested in running for positions, those are usually in the early spring. And again, they're always looking for volunteers and voices from amongst our graduate students. Just a few upcoming important dates to sort of put on your radar in terms of the spring term. So like I said, the graduate student registration is currently open. Students should be able to register now for any spring, summer courses that they're hoping to take. You have until May 10th. I have it listed there. Our registration will close for the spring term on that date. So it is important that you have your registration complete by May 10th. May 1st, anybody in one of our professional programs, so this is our Master of Management, some of our financial analytics, big data analytics programs, your term fees for spring, summer are due May 1st. For students joining us into our research programs or some of our doctoral programs, our thesis programs, your term fees are due May 28th. And many of these programs do have some funding associated with them. So over the course of May, you will see those funding portions added to your student account and offset some of the student fees owing. And then May 27th is our graduate bursary deadline for the spring summer term. So students displaying any kind of financial need, definitely take advantage and apply for bursaries each and every term that they are available. As a graduate student, you will be enrolled in an extended benefits plan for health and dental. It's called the Student VIP program for all registered students at Trent University. You are covered under the benefits. May starts, you'll have your extended benefits starting in the fall term, and they will be active for 1 calendar year. If you're here for multiple years, obviously fees get added every fall term. If you do have proof of alternative coverage, perhaps through an employer or a spouse or a family member, there is an option to opt out of the benefit plan. So you still will be charged for the plan with your term fees. But during a period of opt out, usually about a month long, you can show alternative coverage and receive your health and benefit fees back to you. You can also opt in. So if you have any eligible family members, again, spouse or dependents, during that same period for an additional cost, you can opt in some of your supports. So again, before you need it, really important to sort of review your extended health and dental benefits. Go to the Student VIP site, make sure that you understand the plan, how you access the plan, and how to make a claim. It's very straightforward, and again, really great sort of touch points for contact if you do have questions regarding the Student VIP plan. It is a really great coverage, so make sure you take advantage of it while you're here as a student. And some of the additional services we do like to mention for graduate students is the I Am Well. It's an app that's available to you through Student VIP, and it gives 24/7 access to mental health counselors. Just if you do need to reach out at any point in time, that's available to you at all hours of the day, as well as Direct to You, which is sort of a virtual health hub. Pharmacy appointments, doctor visits, pharmacy prescriptions and things can sort of be handled through the Direct to You app. So those are just really great subsets of the Student VIP benefits package that are available to you as a graduate student. This is what this VIP student website looks like. There are links off of our website, or if you just Googled student VIP and then selected Trent University as your location institution, the coverage and questions and sort of relevant information to you as a graduate student will sort of all appear. And then to our international students joining us, just a reminder, you do have a mandatory health plan for all international students that are studying in Ontario. It's referred to as UHIP, the University Health Insurance Plan, which matches what many Ontario residents have, what we call OHIP, which is the Ontario Health Insurance Plan. So graduate students that are registered, international graduate students that are registered every term will be charged UHIP as part of their fees. Again, you can add family members if need be to international student accounts. There's a email address there, and one of our colleagues over in the international office can help you with any of the questions that you may have around this coverage or what your eligibility is. If you do need proof of coverage, once your fees are added, you can find through My Trent under the support tab, the e-card that you may need for UHIP just to show your proof of coverage for all international students. And then closing up as you're sort of coming into the spring summer term, just a reminder that most of our classes are going to begin the week of May 4th. Spring summer does have a little bit of a variable dates to some of the courses as they follow different patterns of start and stop dates. So really important to check the timetable and to check your registration status once you have selected your courses, and make sure that you understand the start and end dates for each of them. Some of them are offered in compressed formats and some of them over a 12-week period of the summer. Some of them will run the full length of the summer term. So just ensure that you understand the dates and the responsibilities for those courses that you have over this term. Registration for next year for 2022-23 opens up for all graduate students on August 1st. So leading up to that date, we'll have some email reminders and announcements letting you know that next year's timetable is being updated, and you can begin to plan your journey throughout the summer and what that's going to look like in the fall and winter terms. But I think that covers most of the housekeeping items to start you off as a student. Again, please reach out with questions. We're here to help you and make sure that your time here as a graduate student is as stress-free and enjoyable, at least administratively, as it can possibly be. So again, I'd like on behalf of my colleagues in the School of Graduate Studies to welcome you to Trent University. And we definitely look forward to getting to know you. So please stop in, reach out. It's one of our favorite parts of the job. So again, welcome to everyone. And I guess we'll just sort of turn it over if anyone has any questions or concerns or just wants to give a shout out and a welcome to us. That would be great. Well, thank you for joining us today. Time for questions.
Thanks, Erin. Yeah, so feel free to unmute and ask a question if you have one, or throw it into the chat. I mean, you may think of a question after this event. As everyone has mentioned, you can always email us at graduate@trentu.ca. I'll throw that into the chat too, but usually that's what I do, think of questions later. So feel free to reach out at a later time if you think of something. Wow, you guys just did such a great job today. Usually there's lots of questions.
It's a quiet group.
Yeah. Sweet. No questions? Yes, Erin kind of alluded there too. We hope that we have a chance to meet you soon. Normally we have a big orientation in fall, a get together for an in-person get together before 2020 happens. So we're still talking about how that's going to look going forward, but we're hoping to have something for the people that we've kind of missed, including you guys all starting in May. So we'll keep you up to date by email. And if you're on campus near Blackburn Hall, feel free to stop in. We have a couple of staff there now and more coming in the coming days and weeks. So we will look forward to seeing you. Yeah, so definitely no questions. Oh, well, there's one question. Good. Jilly's asking, did graduate student get use of the gym or other campus amenities? Yes, for sure you do. That's part of your ancillary fees that you pay So yeah, you have a membership to the gym and you swipe that when you go in and you'll have access to classes and everything the gym has to offer. Another question, how many courses do we register in for a single term? I think it depends on your program. Erin, do you want to expand on that a little bit since?
Yeah, that's hard to answer in a group context, Laura. So it would be very dependent on the program that you're entering into. So that's Hindu, Raj, I guess.
Yeah.
Hindu, we can work with you sort of individually if we want to through email, or again, that question would probably be best answered by your program administrator, who either has emails already starting to be sent out or will be shortly, in terms of sort of recommended paths for your specific graduate program. Switching, again, there's a question about switching from full-time to part-time or part-time to full-time. How difficult it is. It's not difficult, but it does require some approvals. So many of you have been offered admission based on one status, and so the university, your supervisors and your program sort of have that thought out in their heads in terms of how long you should be here as a student. So if that does change, it's not a problem. It just changes some of the time commitments and sort of pace at which your program may advance. So again, it's just making sure everybody knows, everybody's on board, and the paperwork sort of proceeds through unless there are any red flags, but normally that's not a difficult process.
Someone asked if the session is recorded, and yes, it is recorded, and will be posted on our website shortly, probably within 2 or 3 days. It'll be on our orientation website. So if you missed something, you can skip ahead to the part where you got disconnected and watch what you missed. Oh,
and then Laura, there's a question about deferring if study permits don't come in before May.
Yeah, we have had some questions about that. It's up to you. You can start your classes online. The program will definitely allow you to start online because they are offering that as an option. You probably can defer, but that's up to the program. So you would have to send an email to graduate admissions, and then the program will let you know whether it's possible to defer. Yeah, so if you do decide to start your program online, for the most part, that is good, but you just have to be aware that if for any reason your study permit is declined and you're well into the term, we can't offer a refund after a certain time period after May the 28th, because you have been studying with us for 4 weeks. And then it's obviously difficult to continue with your studies because you will have to actually be able to attend classes. And if you can't get a permit, you won't be able to come to Canada. So yeah, it's just a decision. I think usually the programs have been saying, give it as long as possible in hopes that you do get that permit right up until like maybe even 3 weeks before, and then make your decision. So you have as much information as you can to make your decision with. So yeah, just reach out to us as it gets closer and let us know. If you're starting in May and you haven't got it yet, I would still wait another week or two and keep your fingers crossed that it does come
crossed.
in. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Your hand up with a question. You're welcome to unmute and ask.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you don't have your hand up if you don't have it up on purpose. That's okay.
Okay.
Yes, hello, thank you. I just put my question in the chat because I wasn't sure, how this worked. But
You're heading out to the field.
Yeah, so my, in speaking with my advisor, my funding and official, on the official record, I will be starting in the spring, but I'm in, I live in Alaska, so I'm an international student. I'll be going to Manitoba for my research beginning this summer, but I won't be in Ontario until the fall. So I'm just not sure if I need to apply for a leave of absence or just what I need to do to, sort of get things, in order, because the one precedes the academics. So.
Yeah, no, great question. And to be honest, Court, a lot of our sort of spring, summer science students do head straight out into the field. It's the time to sort of track babies and catch birds and things. And so we typically don't see them to the fall. They will start in the spring and then obviously head right out into the field. So you are considered an active student at that if you are pursuing research and independent study, even though you're not taking any courses this term. So you will have to complete step 1 of our registration process. So that's letting us know that you are here for the term as an active graduate student. That will sort of initiate that the fees will go on and that your funding will be applied for the term. So you still receive the funding that's offered in your letter of offer because you are active this term. And then again, in the fall, when you do join us in Peterborough, hopefully, you may have a course or 2 that you are required to take. And typically you'll probably do that in the fall or winter term, which is totally normal for your program.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So you still are an active student for the spring summer term from May to August if you are heading out into the field.
Yeah. Okay. Do I need to apply for a leave of absence or something? Like I
No,
haven't
you
been there yet, but
yeah.
okay.
So I'll just personally email you something. Your program may also do this, but I'll just make sure you
Okay.
have it. And it's just letting us know that you're off campus, that you are an active student, but that you're off campus for more than 4 weeks this semester pursuing some research. And that just sort of gives us the contact information for where you're at for insurance purposes. So it's not a permission thing. It's more just of a notification thing, but I'll send that to you as soon as this meeting's over. But for all intents purposes, you will be an active student this term.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody for
And cool. Yeah. Good luck
participating.
with
Yeah.
whatever you're looking for in Manitoba.
All right. Thanks.
Sounds like birds. Would it be birds? Manitoba's birds, isn't it? Is that what you're chasing? Yeah. Looking. Oh, cool.
His picture popped up of a bird. That was perfect.
Oh, did it?
That was awesome. We have another question about when classes actually start. I think they start the week of May the 4th. So it just
A
depends.
lot of the classes start the week of May 4th, but again, you need to look at the timetable specifically to find out when your class actually starts. That's right. So all the start end dates are listed through the timetable or will appear in your registration portal if you have selected those courses, or you can go to the Central University timetable. I can put the post here, or somebody else gets it before me, just to review when courses are offered and if there's any special notes about start and end dates for that specific course.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, well, thank you again for joining us, everybody. We're really excited to have you, to see some of you here, and look forward to supporting you and helping you as a graduate student and hopefully meeting you soon. So best of luck with your studies. Reach out to us if you have any questions at all. We're happy to help you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.